Hey everyone, it's Monica. Welcome back to Because Jesus Bible Journaling. I'm so glad you have joined me today. I have something so exciting to share with you. I scored a whole bunch of Prismacolor Premier colored pencils on Facebook Marketplace recently. So I bought them used from someone else, and it was kind of a mix up of 3 different sets. One of them was still sealed in the packaging, but I just wanted to share this with you and hopefully give you some tips and tricks for buying used art supplies of your own. So this is how they came to me. The top package there is sealed, and then there's these 2 really giant sets of 48. Now these sets are incomplete. They're not all there. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is inventorying these new art supplies. But let's open this box first. This is the brand new 24 pack of Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. It came with that little blue art sticks thing, and I had to read up on that. It's basically a colored pencil without the wood around it. And I also did some research on this gold box. I believe it's a special edition from the 90s or the 70s, something like that. It's somewhat old, I think 90s. And then the one on the left, the black one there, was early 2000s, I believe, when it was released as a special edition. So basically, she had organized all of her warm colors into this gold box and all the cool colors into the other box. And so the first thing I'm doing is just emptying these boxes out and kind of creating a rainbow of colored pencils. Now, while I do this, I do want to share some tips and tricks for buying used art supplies. The first thing is communicate. Ask questions. When you are talking to someone, messaging back and forth about something, don't be afraid to ask questions. Pester them with questions. Get the details right. One thing I did with her was I said, is this 48 plus 48 plus 24 pencils, like a full set of 120? And she said yes. Now, come to find out, that's not actually true when I went to pick them up. And I sort of confronted her about that. And I was like, well, you said that this was 48 plus 48 plus 24. And really, neither one of the 48 sets were complete. But I ended up taking it anyways because it was just a really, really killer deal. And she said she had other people after me who were interested if I wanted to pass it up. And I just thought, you know what, this is really too good of a deal to pass up. So I think I got all of these pencils for $30 is what I ended up spending. And I'm really happy with it. Just that brand new 24 set is $15 alone, and then $15 more for more pencils, more colors. I was up for it. So I added in the colored pencils from this new set into my rainbow of colored pencils on my table here. And basically what I'm doing is trying to figure out what colors I have duplicates of, what colors I have triplicates of, and then what colors I only have one pencil of. And there is at least one color that I only ended up having one pencil, maybe 2 colors. And there you have it. Isn't that just a thing of beauty? I love this. Now the next step is I decided to go through and just match up the colors and move them up or down, every other color. What this is allowing me to do is go ahead and see how many of each color do I have? 2 of these, 3 of those. I'm just really trying to establish an inventory. I also want to mention here that I did take time and sterilize the outside of the box and all the pencils, and anything that wasn't sealed, I did go ahead and sterilize with some antibacterial wipes, and you'll want to be sure you do that anytime you buy anything used off Marketplace or the thrift store. It's not a bad idea to just give it a good wash down and get rid of any extra dust or germs that could be there. Now, I was also sure to send her a thank you message as I was opening these up and starting to play with them. I just messaged her and said, thank you so much, and thank you for holding this item for me until I could get there to pick it up, especially since she had other people. So that's another good tip, is to go ahead and just share some gratitude toward the person that you buy from. Now, the next step here, I'm going through each and every color in this gorgeous rainbow of colored pencils, and I'm grabbing out the tallest of each and every color. And this is going to be my sort of first place collection. It will have every color possible in the longest size possible. And so this is going to be kind of my first place collection of these colored pencils. Again, just part of my process here, sorting and really starting to understand what I have. So I'm taking the tallest pencil from each color and adding it into this tin that the 24 pack originally came in. And this is just going to be my first place colored pencils. So don't be afraid when you do have duplicates of things. When you buy things used, sometimes they come in multiple sets. Don't be afraid to use them strategically. So in my case, I'm going to use this first place set of colored pencils here in my art room. So these are the ones that I'm going to store upstairs in my art room and use a lot in my Bible journaling and other art projects. Now, this next round of colored pencils, I'm going to just call them my second place round of colored pencils. And what I'm doing here is picking up the next tallest pencil of every color. Now, for some of these colors, that means it's the only one left. And so that meant that I only had 2 of that color to begin with. And that's just fine. This is my second place pencil set. It might be a little shorter. It might have fewer colors in it, and that's okay. And this one I'm deciding to leave downstairs to do some coloring in bed or on the couch when we're watching a movie, things like that. Just handy to have a second set around. And I feel like I can do that because these were just so exceptionally cheap. Now what's left is what I'm calling my third place colored pencil set, and these are the shortest and the fewest number of colors. They fit in this little travel tin, and those are going to be what I keep in my purse. And I did end up in the long run shifting around the containers that keep these, but this is kind of what I ended up with. So I've got my first place, my second place, my third place. First place is upstairs in my art room. Second place is going to be downstairs. And then the third place one is going to be for travel or in my purse. Sometimes I like to sketch when I'm out and about. So don't be afraid to use dupes. And if you were overwhelmed by the used art supplies that you bought and you ended up with a whole bunch, also don't feel bad about reselling. I could pick any one of these sets and just resell them and maybe even recoup the $30 that I spent initially. So keep that in mind. There's no rules when it comes to buying used art supplies, so just make it work for you. I did go ahead and just label each one of these containers with some washi tape because I knew I'd be doing some more organization, some more swatching and figuring things out. These last 2 containers, the second place and the first place containers here, they actually don't even close with these pencils in them. So again, later on, I'm going to rework that and get it figured out. But that's my steps for buying used art supplies. Communicate, ask questions, buy it, sterilize it, send a thank you, do some inventory, use the duplicates strategically, don't be afraid to resell them, and split them up into sets that are going to work for you. I know we're all on a budget, some of us even more so during this season, and so that's why I wanted to bring this video to you. Don't think you always have to buy new. Just keep your eyes open at the thrift store, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever you have in your area. Used art supplies are oftentimes just as good as they were brand new. Find me over on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're interested in my general art journey, you can subscribe to my Artsy Bits channel by clicking that little icon in the lower right-hand corner. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to jump into the Word of God for yourself. It is amazing.